On today's show, we want to revisit the infamous invasion of the headquarters of Eko Electricity Distribution Company by armed personnel of the Nigerian Air Force over disconnection of power due to 4 billion naira debt, as Eko Disco Distribution Company is alleging the invasion of its Badagry office by men of the Nigerian Army. We have with us in the studio MD and CEO of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. He is also the spokesman of all the discos. Welcome with us to the show, Otuba Sunday Oduto.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before we go into the incident of the Eko Electric challenges, tell us exactly what happened at the Eko Electric, Eko Electric Badagry office, and what are your thoughts on this? We'd like to be.
Thank you very much. The incident of Ikeja happened on the 6th of March. But on the 14th of March, and before the 14th of March, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, they were doing an upgrade. They've been doing upgrades all over the country, in Lagos State, in the Badagry area, specifically in Agbara Industrial Estate. They were doing an upgrade and they told us. Then we notified all our customers about load shedding, that there will be limited supply of electricity while the upgrade was on. And in the case of Nigerian Army, 15 Field Engineers Regiment, Topo Badagry, we informed their commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel S. Lawan, and we did all of this in writing. So everybody knew there was an upgrade, everybody knew there would not be enough supply. Not that there was no supply at all, but there was not enough supply. While that was going on the 14th of March, at exactly 1 a.m. in the middle of the night, men of Nigerian Army from that 15 Field Engineers Regiment, Topo, went to the Eko Disco injection substation in Badagry. That injection substation is the place from where we switch lights on and off. We receive light from TCN and send it to our customers. There they met 2 of our staff, the DSO, which is the person in charge of distribution there, and a security man. Then they started beating them up for no reason. They abducted them in the middle of the night, took them to their barracks, inflicted injuries on them.
Wow.
And funny enough, after beating them, after doing all of that, they then bundled them to their Land Rover again, brought them back to their office, dumped them there, and then left. That was when we got the news. Now, my fear is that once nothing has been done to Air Vice Marshal Eko Electricity of Ikeja Air Force Base, and the base commander is the gentleman called Air Commodore Umar. Air Commodore Umar, personally, the base commander at Ikeja, personally supervised the torture and beating of our staff, our drivers that they took to their base, 16 of them. The reason why we know it was him was because on the same day that they invaded Eko Electric, they came back in the evening on a so-called peace mission to assess the damages caused by their men. And when they came, led by Air Vice Marshal Eko Electricity, the drivers that were beaten in the morning in their premises, that were tortured, then pointed at that
base commander,
Umar, and said, this is the man that asked them to beat us and torture us. The same person came and sat down around the table with the chairman and management of Eko Electric. Now, this act of impunity must stop. And the reason why we call out the president, the national security advisor, the chief of air staff, in fact, in the case of the chief of air staff, every single letter that we wrote to the air officer commanding at Ikeja Air Force Base, we copied the chief of staff. He did not reply us. The chief of staff ignored everything regarding the debt of 4.3 billion. And since then, up to this morning, nothing has been done. Umar is still there as the base commander at Ikeja Air Force Base. Air Vice Marshal Eko Electricity is still there at the Ikeja Air Force Base. And I'm happy we have a video showing his men including one person in blue beret who was their commander on that day. I was there at Ikeja, and I just thank God because I was in front of MITV. I was told to cross the road into Ikeja when I saw trucks, and they were scaling the fence. Even they had the female personnel among them scaling the perimeter fence. That was why I stood outside, who are taking video from afar. Thank God they took away the video. They destroyed all the CCTV cameras, took away all the
controls,
hard drives.
Yes, but thank God, one of those database that they did not see is what gave us access to what you can see on the screen. And you can see how they were beating an innocent staff on the corridor, and you can see all their faces. A few of them even covered their faces.
Otumba,
so I'm really scared.
Some people
I'm really scared.
Online.
And they've been threatening me as a person. They've been threatening me. And this is why I'm saying, in a civil society, unless the political leaders begin to do something about these military people, if you think there cannot be military intervention in Nigeria, you are joking. For those of us who have witnessed this kind of beating and all this kind of invasion, we know that these guys don't respect civil authority. And that's why I kept on thinking the president is supposed to be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And when you ignore this, one day, we don't know what will happen.
So
this is scary.
Yeah,
this is very scary.
Well,
But what is the state of the health of the officers, of your officials that were picked up, right, and that were taken?
10 of our staff were hospitalized. The one at the Ikeja. The guys at Badagry, they're still hospitalized up to now. And the sad thing is that once this thing happened, the military people don't do anything. In the case of Air Force Base, they came, we are sorry. And that's it. For us, that is too little, too late. That is not even what should be the case. You can see their faces on camera.
These officers should be court-martialed. The
Exactly.
military has a system.
Publicly.
The military has a system. No, the court-martial is totally, the court-martial is a private military matter. But it's a court of concurrent jurisdiction with a high court.
Yes, a high court.
So if we say you should file a civil suit now, that's the
thing that
right
will
appropriate body.
Yes.
But if you written briefing the chief of army staff of this,
Yes,
and
as
so
the Disco
that
officially
as expected,
written,
or have you
Yes.
written to the president?
We have sent a petition to the chief of army staff. In the case of the Air Force Base, we've done all of that. Even the National Security Advisor is aware, because
Officially.
in fairness to him, he intervened in the case of the Air Force Base. I mean, even the Minister of Power came out to condemn what happened. But what we are saying is there must be consequences.
Yes.
Air Vice Marshal Eko Ademulegun is still in charge. Air Commodore Umar is still the base commander. We cannot continue to have this kind of scenario. And that is why, because they did it and nothing happened, the army officers at Topo in Badagry felt that they can do anything. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. Now, it is not the fault of Eko Disco that there was no light. It is because of the upgrade being done by Transmission Company of Nigeria. Should we be afraid to carry out or carry on with our legitimate business? Should we be scared every time we ask our staff to go and do their work? That's the problem.
These videos
Okay,
are
so the breakdown of
this is a lot of that. So are you going to sue for damages? Because this, can you imagine?
They are owing 4 billion. They've not paid 4 billion. You now want to sue for damages?
Yeah, they will add all of them now, because you can't just get away with this.
Look, the solution, unless our political leaders do not have the political will to sort out things in this country, the solution on this one is very simple.
Yes.
Those who have done this are people that can be identified. We know who they are. We know who sent them.
Yes.
So there is hierarchy in the military. It is very easy to trace. This is not about unknown soldiers that invaded Fela Nuclear Post residence in 1978. In fact, this is not about the mad dogs that beat up one of Chief M.K. Abila's sons in 1992, when the then chief of air staff said, "Oh, sorry, they are mad dogs." We thought we have done away with the area of mad dogs. I think we should let this country work. Our own is, look, if injury to one is injury to all, if something happens and everybody think it doesn't matter, one day they will come to your doorstep.
We'll take a quick break now. When we return, We would talk about the fact that there were some social media comments that were supporting the army for what they did. Some were saying it was justifiable because of the fact that there was power cut out or lack of power and accessibility, and they felt they were happy to see this happen. What's the psyche? How do we prevent this from happening in future? How do we separate our grievances from destroying properties? We'll discuss more about all of this when we come back from the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So you could join the conversation by calling us on 090-241-63440, or you could tweet to us #YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We're also streaming live on YouTube, and the ladies will be able to take your comments from those platforms as well. Mariam has a question.
Yeah, so for me, while you were talking, and since I heard this story, my mouth has just been open because I cannot believe in 2025 that this will happen. That's one, that it happened. And secondly, silence. I'm wondering, are you sure they haven't tried to reach out? I'm shocked, really, that there is no news going on and on about
the consequences.
The consequences of what has just happened. This is, as you said, you have every right to sound the way that you sounded. This is something that we should all be afraid of, that a group of military personnel can storm an institution, blatantly, you can see their faces and get away with it. Harassing people, assaulting lives and get away with it. What's the difference between this and insurgents going into schools and destroying schools? This is scary. And that it has not taken up the sort of steam we expect from the federal level, state level. I'm shocked that we're so quiet. And Nigerians, there are some things we cannot be quiet about, even as individuals. Because yes, it did not happen at your workplace today. It has happened to us before. If it did not happen at your workplace today, one day it will happen at your workplace or a friend's workplace or a family's workplace. This should not be accepted in any form. And I hope that the government is watching this and listening to this and they're doing something, because it means that Nigerians are not safe. We're not safe to do our jobs, is what we're saying. You get up one morning, you go to work, and anyone can storm your workplace and assault you and harass you and get away with it, and everybody be quiet. I really don't have any questions other than what is government doing about this? If they're not doing anything, then really.
What would you like the government?
You already called the
He has said it.
He's called on the president.
Is it a reposting of the Eko model?
No, this is
they should even investigate and look into this.
Exactly.
They have their
Is it
evidence.
possible for them to carry out an
So
action
someone was
like
asking
this?
who will court martial.
No,
So who will court martial is that since the NSA is aware, NSA mandates whoever heads the military to take note of this. Once this is done, you send to the appropriate court martial, and they set up a court martial
immediately.
But
they invite all the heads.
Could the Air Force guys and the military men, could they have gone to fight without the backing or without the go-ahead of their
they most likely did with their immediate authority, immediate head. But we are the superior head that we are now calling on. I wanted to ask Otumba just for balance, because just as Topo said during the break, people were online cheering on when this happened.
Before you talk about that, let me mention a positive thing that happened at Ikeja, because I was there on that day. They will have spent maybe the whole day beating on and destroying our properties. But for one patriotic Nigerian Army officer, I don't want to mention his name because I've been told authoritatively that the people of the air base are very unhappy with him. This brigadier general is from Ikeja cantonment. When the soldiers of fortune, as I call them, this Air Force personnel came and started beating us, they blocked the road, the Obafemi Awolowo way. They blocked the road to the House of Assembly. We even thought it was the House of Assembly something.
In a civilian road.
They did that morning, 7:35
right beside the governor.
When they did that, a very patriotic police officer, a lady, the DPO of Alausa, when she saw that no vehicle was moving, she came out. She then saw them, she came. They attacked her. You can trace out.
Look at that.
The female, this lady. It was this lady that now called some people in Ikeja cantonment, and this Yoruba Brigadier General Omoluabi came, and he was the one that made them to leave our premises. When they saw him, he came with some of his own troop, and then that was when they left. That is an army officer and a gentleman. That's a patriotic army officer. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, such a brigadier general, people like that should be given award and should be praised or promoted. You won't hear about them. You will hear about people like
you're not mentioning his name,
Marshal
sir.
Eko Ademulegun, who will still remain at his duty.
That one is not. It's not
still a Omoluabi.
No,
Even though he's a Yoruba man. Even though he's a
the one that
so
saved
that's
us,
not tribal.
the one that saved us is
It's
a
about
Yoruba man.
people.
The one that touched us, it's also a Yoruba man. The one that it's not about tribe.
Thank
Uma
you. I wanted you to.
Uma is a Fulani man from the. It's nothing to do with tribe. It's to do with the personality and the fact that the Nigerian military personnel, some of them, not all of them, do not believe in this civilian regime. They don't think that they can
I
wanted to ask
for civil authority.
Okay.
You know, for balance, that some people were rejoicing at this. The services of the discos across board, their response team, their response system is what might have brought about this. Yes, they might be owing 43 billion and you have been demanding the payment. How has the services been towards the barracks as a result of that debt?
Thank you very much. You're a lawyer, Nima. And in fact, when non-lawyers, people that are not lawyers like us, when they talk, the difference between us and them is for us to set aside our emotion, just like when we stand before my Lord in a court, and look at things straight from what is right, what is wrong, what is justifiable, and what is not justifiable. For the military, we love them, we respect them, we understand their role in the society. The chairman of Eko Electric, Dr. Kola Adesina, has always been telling us to show restraint. They believe so much in peace. Same thing with the chairman of Eko Disco, Mr. Dere Otubu. In fact, when this incident happened, they were of the opinion, let's reach out to the military or to their superior officers. We've been serving the military very well. They're not the ones that have not been paying their bills. Remember, the latest one by Nigerian Army had nothing to do with bill payment. All military
Just
people
that
are
light
owing
was
debt.
taken out.
It's nothing to do with that. They just said there's no light in the barrack and they started beating our staff. That cannot be justified. And for the people, those people, the remnants of NSAS going online to say it served them right. I read all about what they were saying, particularly on Instagram. It is very sad that in Nigeria, we just say things without thinking deeply about the implication of what we are saying. Anybody who does not like people in this government or like this government and they want the military to come, we all pay for it. That's one side.
Okay.
On the other side, talking about services, I've said this here on many occasions. I've been here at least up to 10 times in the last 10 years. We are not where we are supposed to be. I cannot come here and say we are serving you well. I cannot say we are efficient enough. But you also remember that a country of over 200 million people should not be producing electricity that is less than 6,000 megawatts, and you expect it to go around. And we are not the producers, we are not the transporters, but even the producers, transporters, and us, we are one single family living in the same house but different rooms, because if you cannot pay the gas suppliers who collect dollar anyway, you cannot generate electricity. If you cannot generate, you cannot transmit. If you cannot transmit, you cannot distribute. And when you eventually distribute, if people are not paying, how can you reinvest? How can you have money? How can you recover your investment? People, Nigerians should please pity us and look at things in a way that will be balanced. People going online to say it serve them right, they are not only saying things that are not patriotic, they are just being unfair to everybody. And at the end of the day, we shall all live up and face the consequences.
Okay, so we're going to take a break. When we return, because we cannot assume people understand the impact of what this is having on general businesses. But that video clip can affect you from getting investors. It can affect me from getting international investors into the country, because an investor will say, what if I build my facility and I annoy a military officer? They will come and ransack. So how do we get investors? So we'll talk more about the impact on our economy generally and why it is right for the president to speak concerning this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So during the break, we were all discussing amongst ourselves, oh no, the people that are, Nigerians are angry with the discos, Nigerians are angry because there's no power. How can they cut off Ibadan, a university teaching hospital where you have life and death situations? Where do we draw the line as a business to understand that there are some, maybe, how do you count the losses? How do you pay up your investors? How do you protect your interests? How do you remain in markets and yet serve in a country like Nigeria, where the expectation is that power is for the people, is free? Why can you not give us power? Please, these are the things that are, I think our audience need to understand how to balance it out, because many people are genuinely angry that the Disco, the Ibadan Distribution Company also disconnected UCH. And they are feeling like there's justification for what happened to them. And while we can sit down on this show and say there is no justification, everybody unitedly saying for that, what we saw in that video, how can we find that balance?
Okay. The first thing we require our people to understand is for them to understand the structure of our business. We, the discos, we are distributors. We are distributing somebody else's product, of which the person pays 20% of whatever we collect. So every time we take this product to town and the customers are not paying, the owner of the product keep shouting on us, threatening us, I won't give you another one next week if you have not paid for the one for last week. So as distributors, in a very heavily regulated industry, and you will have had all the time, but remittance, they are not remitting, they are not collecting enough. Collecting that you hear, these collection losses is about our ability to collect money from customers. And all organizations, including the military, and I will say for a fact that this government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, something that I know is that he believes so much in payment of bills, just like Mr. Babatunde Fashola did when he was power minister. He insisted that the ministry department agencies, MDA, including the military, should be paying their, I made effort to pay some of the debts. So in 2023, the Ikeja Air Force Base, their total bill was 1.4 billion. It was not in contention. They agreed, they accepted, they know. Part of 1.4 billion, they paid 1.2 billion, which is commendable. 2023, they paid that much because the federal government sent money to them. And they have been sending money to them till today. So they pay 1.2 out of 1.4, leaving a balance of 191 million. That was in 2023. Last year, 2024, their bill went up by another about 100 million. So their total billing was 1.5 billion. Guess what? Despite the fact that they collected money, despite the fact that you could check the allocation, you will see that money went to this military through the Federal Ministry of Defense. Out of 1.5 billion, they only paid 623 million. That was the beginning of our problem with them, and we started writing them. In June last year, they beat off our staff that we sent to Ikeja Air Force Base. We didn't come here. We didn't tell anybody. We've been beaten many times.
So what
It's
for
a
you is
history
a
of
reason?
violence.
Beaten. In Abeokuta, there's a garrison command. You can call it Alamala. They beat us there in 2016. They beat us there in 2018. We've been beaten. In Kaduna, we were beaten. In Jos, we were beaten.
No.
Okay, so
the
you
military has been
history
beating
of
us.
beating
Okay,
is not
so
It's
about
so
days.
perpetual.
Yes.
Sadly, we don't even have time. We have two other guests coming on this show today.
Yes, but so I just want to chip in something that there's no justification for beating or putting anybody's life at risk because they're working with you. But I want to understand because there's just too much. It's so sad that when something like this happens, normally Nigerians and everybody will fight for the people. But it's so bad that there's so much anger against you guys.
The service being rendered is not
do you
good
think
enough.
that maybe the way you guys render a service in terms of customer service relationships need to change and adjust so that regardless of anything, even though that people are owing or that has to do with meter, maybe if your customer relationship is better, regardless of anything, you can also garner some support when things like this happen.
Okay, we are not 100% perfect yet. We are not where we are supposed to be. But I can say that we have improved a lot in the last 10 years. Just like I mentioned the issue of the upgrade going on in Badagry, we inform our customers, we send messages, even in the case of Ikeja, and so many customers came and said, what's the TCN upgrade? Because they got text messages. We have improved our communication, but we still need to do more, because to be honest, our staff, even though we spend a lot of money on staff training, I'm still very concerned that some of our staff don't treat customers well enough. But we also want customers to understand, the moment the food you have in the house, you have 11 people in the house, and you have food that is only enough for 4 people, there's no way you can satisfy the 11 people, because what you have is not enough. The problem with electricity in Nigeria has to do with the fact that the quantum of what we are able to produce as a country is just too low for the populace. And we are the one that, I've said it before, there's a value chain.
They're the closest to us.
So we are the one that you abuse, and they say we are not doing it well enough. Can I produce electricity in Ikeja or Eko? I cannot. Can I transmit it? And thank God, please let us encourage states and local government to begin to generate, and that's the essence of the new Electricity Act of 2023 as amended.
For me, the way I would like
that is the way to go, and I hope Nigerians can pay for it.
For us, that history of violence, you see how you mentioned one person here, one incident there, and now it's a whole collection of military going against the institution.
We permitted
we need to be careful. That's the message that we need to send out. This has to stop, and it has to stop now. There has to be repercussions and consequences for what happened, so that we will not have a repeat of this, or widespread repeat of this in the future.
Once again, we would like to join them to call on the president to create to actually chart a decisive action course for this particular incident, the 2 incidents that happened in this month of March, because the president is the one that is going to the France, is going to the UN, is going to from country to country to get investors, and this video doesn't look good, especially if we don't have a strong reaction. All business owners are worried as it is. While I empathize with Nigerian citizens who complain of bad services from discos transmitting and Gencos, all of them together, I think this is not the right way to go about it. So that's just what we want to say as we conclude on this. Thank you, Otuba, for shedding light on the challenges that your people are facing. It is definitely a risky job to work with any disco in this country right now. But we'll take a break. When we return, it's still a month-long celebration. We're talking about women all through the month of... And funny enough, the Eko Disco CEO is a woman, Eko Disco a woman, and they are putting in their very best. So trust me, we will do our best to support as much as possible. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.